Coach, obviously not the start you wanted last week, but I would imagine a sense of kind of, fire and urgency coming with the home opener.
Yeah, no question. It's certainly good to be back at City Stadium, playing at home. It's going to be very important for us to pick up wins at home if we're going to have any chance of making the playoffs this season. Certainly a disappointing start to the season. Bethlehem was exceptional, and we were exceptionally poor. So when you have that type of recipe, it's going to be tough in this league.
Last year, I know, kind of left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, in this locker room, just in terms of how the season panned out. What's the reason for optimism this year for, you can kind of pass along to the fans that are going to be filling the seats?
Well, I mean, to be honest, the first game was a little bit disappointment. What we had worked on in pre-season, the first 4.5 weeks, was about really high pressing, really being positive with the ball. We just didn't do that. And then when you combine the exceptional performance of the opponent, it was tough. But no, what we need to do is be a high pressure team, affect the game, hunt in numbers to win the ball back, and then be confident and brave on the ball. And I need to see that on Saturday. Do
you notice guys kind of drawing off last season as a little bit of motivation? I know everyone handles that the same, or differently rather, but do you notice that kind of being a topic of discussion about not having a repeat, having that anomaly?
There's no question that the returning guys and the guys who have come in are aware of what happened last season. So there's clearly an urgency, like you said, and desire to turn that around. So we're going to have to be that way, because we're not going to have the quality individually that some teams do, but we're going to need to be a better team.
Anytime you play at home, it's an advantage in the 26th home opener, expecting a sellout crowd. What kind of energy can that provide to get that best foot forward here at the start?
No, as always, it is an absolute pleasure to coach in front of that atmosphere and environment. The players love it, and they thrive off that energy, and the more of that type of energy and atmosphere we can have, it can only help. So it's a big factor for us, more than most places we go to. The Red Army and Section O, and even more the entire fan base really get behind us, and it's a big difference maker.
You start with a familiar team, now you have a new team to the USL in Indy 11. It seems like this league continues to grow year in and year out. What do you know so far, even though they're brand new to the league?
No, again, Indy is one of the top clubs for the past 4 or 5 years in Division 2. I know the coach very well. He's an exceptional coach, Martin Rennie. They've picked up some of the top players in Division 2, so they're fully loaded. They have a lot of talent, a lot of quality. They've done well in pre-season. So again, it's going to be a massive task, and we've got to make sure that we can affect the game.
I know you want to move past last week's game, but has there been a little bit of talk about that match and trying to erase the performance as you get ready for the home opener?
No, it's not at all. There's not much talk. I think every player was quite clear of what happened. We discussed it pretty vocally at half time. We just need players to be brave and to be focused and to like we say, hunt in pack. We were going individually trying to win the ball back. We never went as a group. We were too timid, and we need some brave warriors out there. So that's what I expect to see.
How would you define this year's team?
Work in progress. So we have some pieces. There's a lot of flexibility right now. If we get everyone healthy, there's certainly a lot of quality in depth. We're still definitely trying to find ourselves in the real DNA of the team. But again, we've talked about it, and we've worked on a high pressure team, direct soccer, entertaining soccer.
I want to talk about Oscar Umar and his story. You mentioned having warriors on this team, and you look at his story and what he did to get here. What does his presence on this roster do for you and for the rest of this team?
No, Oscar has an abundance of talent, athleticism, quality on the ball. You saw the strike he did last week was an exceptional goal, world-class goal. He just needs to grow now with his personality and character, be a little bit more vocal, communicate more to his team, and just start to understand tactically how he can affect the game even more than he is so far.
When you did hear his story, looking at him, what stood out from that? I mean, there's so many things to point to, but this really kind of defines his character that you saw.
Yeah, if you can go through that type of journey, adversity, you're going to be able to handle anything in professional sports. So he has that with him, his experiences moving forward, and he always handles himself with extreme confidence, and he's a quality teammate.
Real quick, you mentioned about Oscar being more vocal. You would like for him to be more vocal. How big of a deal is that for this year's team, for some guys, I guess, to step out of character and become more of a vocal leader?
No, you've always got to continue to improve as a player, and the younger guys and the ones who've always been quiet. You've got to, maybe that's not your personality, but you certainly have to improve in that regard. On the flip side, we've brought in several experienced individuals to try and help with that. So that's going to be a big part of their role moving forward as well. When you combine the both, you hope you're going to get a much stronger, experienced team.
Was that one of the things that was kind of lacking last year that you would like to see become more?
It was lacking last year, and it was lacking about 7 days ago. So my patience is running thin, right? So we'll see what happens 5 p.m. Saturday.
You guys had such a good fan turnout last year, setting another attendance record. I'm sure you guys have thought about that and ways to, capitalize on that and take it to the next level. But, with that said, does it kind of excite you, the potential of what this can be? Once, you guys have a little bit of a turnaround from last season, all of a sudden they say winning's the best marketing tool on top of what you guys have already put together.
Yeah, I certainly gave a lot of thought about. We did not want to be a team who was going to sit back the entire game and soak up pressure, especially at home. So that's a big part of what we want to be. Even last week, a great example, 6,000 fans for the women's professional game. You're showing again that Richmond's growing as a soccer market. It's definitely a soccer town, and we just need to continue to get that momentum. But yeah, it's all about putting a winning team. It's tricky, I'm not going to lie, with the resources right now. We certainly need new investment and potentially new ownership down the road. But for now, we've got to do what we have. I think it's a great group of guys who understand what's required to be successful in this league, and I look forward to seeing that.